Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at some pretty intense sources, mostly from behavioral science, ABA specifically.
Right, applied behavior analysis.
And we're applying it to, well, one of the toughest roles out there. Long-term caregiving. High effort, often very low feedback.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge.
Our mission today, figure out how you can keep going, keep putting in that maximum effort, even when the usual rewards, the thank yous, the positive feedback, they just aren't there.
It really comes down to building your own internal support system. Because like you said, caregiving, it's like running this endless marathon where the finish line keeps shifting and there aren't always those aid stations you expect. You have to carry your own water, essentially.
That really lands. I want to start with this story we found, this anecdote about a caregiver, Mr. K. It's quite powerful. So picture this. He's just finished an incredibly draining day. I mean, managing medication refusal.
Which is just exhausting in itself.
Totally. Then dealing with a frantic call from a doctor and navigating a plumbing leak. All this while trying to provide continuous, patient support. He finally crashes on the couch.
And what's his big reward for all that effort? For that incredible juggling act.
6 hours of sleep.
Just enough to wake up.
And do it all over again.
Yeah, that's the cycle.
And that story, it just perfectly captures the problem, doesn't it? Caregiving demands so much, psychologically, physically.
Maximum effort, consistently.
But the positive consequences, the things that usually keep us going, a thank you, a clear sign of success, even just catching your breath, they're often minimal or delayed or just absent.
Right. And when that external reward system, that reinforcement, breaks down, well, sustaining the effort becomes almost impossible.
That's the burnout trigger right there, that lack of reinforcement.
Precisely. So using these ABA principles, the goal becomes really, really clear. We have to stop waiting for the external pat on the back.
Because it might never come, or not reliably anyway.
Exactly. We need to build an internal system, a structured, reliable way to give yourself positive reinforcement. You, the caregiver, you have to become your own best source of immediate positive feedback.
Okay, let's unpack the science behind this. Why does our motivation just plummet in these situations, even when we care deeply? What's actually happening?
Well, it boils down to a fundamental principle in behavior analysis. Any behavior that isn't reinforced, it eventually decreases, it fades away.
We call that extinction, right?
This is the term, extinction.
And it feels like the typical caregiving environment is almost like perfectly designed to cause extinction.
It often is, unfortunately, because unlike a regular job, say, where you finish a project and maybe get praised or paid or just feel done.
Right, there's an endpoint.
Yeah, a clear endpoint. That signals, okay, time for the reward, the break. In caregiving, finishing one really hard task. Let's say you finally patiently get your loved one to eat a meal.
Which could have taken an hour or more.
Easily. But what happens next? Often, it's immediately on to the next difficult task. Cleaning up, dealing with paperwork, maybe managing an emotional outburst. There's no break, no built-in reward.
So let's break down that loop. The one that just drains the emotional fuel tank.
Okay, so we look at the BC, behavior and consequence.
BC, got it.
The behavior B. You handle, say, a really difficult 2-hour sundowning episode. You use incredible patience, incredible emotional control. You didn't raise your voice.
Okay, massive effort expended there.
Huge effort. Now the consequence, C. What follows immediately? Maybe just silence, utter exhaustion, or like we said, the immediate need to start the next task, maybe fix dinner, maybe deal with laundry, perhaps with some resentment just starting to bubble up.
So that incredible patience, that 2 hours of effort, it doesn't get linked to anything good in the brain.
Exactly. The brain learns, wow, that took everything I had, and the result was feeling drained and facing more work. High effort leads to exhaustion.
So the effort isn't reinforced.
Not at all. So to reverse this, to fight that extinction, the consequence has to change. It needs to be something immediate, something you actually like, a preferred activity or item.
So you consciously link the hard work to something positive right away.
Immediately. That's the key. That linkage makes the effort start to feel valuable again, internally.
Okay, this is where it gets really practical. We're moving from understanding the problem to actually, engineering a solution for ourselves.
Right. We're building that internal infrastructure.
And it starts with step 1, identifying your reinforcers. And not just any reinforcers, right? They have to be specific.
Yes. Low effort, high value reinforcers. This is crucial because this is where self-reward often fails.
How so?
Well, we tend to think too big. Oh, I'll reward myself with a vacation next year. That's great, but it's way too delayed to reinforce the effort you put in today.
Right, it doesn't help you get through the next hour.
Exactly. Or, the flip side, we pick things that are actually kind of punishing in the long run.
Like what's an example of a punishing reward?
Well, the classic example might be reaching for that extra glass of wine, or maybe excessive caffeine, or scrolling endlessly on social media when you should be resting. It feels good for a second, maybe.
A temporary escape.
Right. But it ultimately increases fatigue, maybe guilt, and it doesn't build your capacity for tomorrow. That's not reinforcement, that's just coping, and often not in a healthy way.
So the rule for a real reinforcer is
It must be immediate. It must be something you genuinely prefer, something you actually like. And critically, it has to be low effort.
low effort. That seems really important when you're already exhausted.
It's non-negotiable. You need micro rewards, things you can access with almost zero extra energy, but they give you a genuine little psychological boost.
Okay, so identify those first. Then step 2 is about structuring the reinforcement. This is where the Premack Principle comes in. You called it Grandma's Rule.
Yeah, affectionately grandma's rule.
Yeah.
Because it captures it perfectly, right?
Yeah.
First, you eat your vegetables, the hard thing. Then you can have your dessert, the fun thing.
Okay, simple but effective.
Very. The science behind it, identified by Premack back in the 60s, is about linking behaviors. You take a low-frequency behavior, something you don't naturally rush to do, something hard.
Like the vegetables.
Yeah.
Or maybe the dreaded insurance paperwork.
Exactly. And you link it to a high-frequency behavior, something you naturally want to do, something you enjoy.
The dessert. Or maybe listening to a favorite song.
Right. The enjoyable thing, the high-frequency behavior, becomes contingent on completing the low-frequency one. The reward only happens after the hard work.
So the fun thing actually pulls the hard thing along, motivationally speaking.
Precisely. Let's make that concrete for caregiving. First, identify that low-frequency, hard behavior. What's the task you dread the most? Giving the bath, making difficult phone calls, filling out those forms.
Okay, pick your poison. Let's say it's the paperwork.
Okay, paperwork it is. Now, identify a high-frequency reward behavior. Something genuinely preferred, immediate, and low effort. Maybe it's brewing and slowly sipping a really special tea you love. Or perhaps 5 minutes playing a mindless game on your phone. Or watching one specific funny video clip online.
Got it. Something small, easy, and genuinely enjoyable.
Yes. Then you create the rule, the non-negotiable contract with yourself.
Okay, what's the rule for the paperwork dread?
It could be, after I finish sorting and filing these medical bills for 30 minutes, low F, then I get to sit down with my headphones and listen to my favorite album for 10 minutes, high F.
Okay. The hard work becomes the key that unlocks the reward.
Exactly. It makes the unpleasant task feel, well, less unpleasant because it has an immediate positive payoff attached. It builds value back into the effort.
But here's a challenge I can anticipate, and I bet listeners feel this too. When you are just bone-tired running on fumes, isn't it hard to even remember to enforce these rules? Doesn't the exhaustion itself make it tough to initiate this whole structure?
That's a really important practical question, and the behavioral approach addresses this. We don't rely purely on willpower because willpower is exhaustible.
Right, it runs out.
It does. So we turn the rule into an antecedent, a cue. The completion of the difficult task needs to automatically trigger the reward routine.
Like a habit.
Sort of, yeah. You want to automate it as much as possible. So the moment you put down the pen after finishing the paperwork,
You immediately walk over to where the headphones and music player are, without debating it.
yes, the physical act of finishing becomes the cue. Stand up, move to the reward station. That transition is the trigger. This is why the reward has to be low effort and easily accessible. If you have to spend 10 minutes setting it up, forget it. The link is broken.
Okay, that makes sense. Automation over willpower. So we've got the external structure with Premack. Now, step 3 tackles the internal game, right? The self-talk, the power of self-affirmation.
Yes, this is about bringing that reinforcement inside because caregivers, well, we can be incredibly hard on ourselves.
Masters of self-criticism sometimes.
Often, yes. We discount the wins. You could handle 9 out of 10 things perfectly all day with incredible grace, but you focus on the one time you got frustrated or made a small mistake.
I got through it, but I yelled once, so the whole day was a failure. That kind of thinking.
Exactly that kind of thinking. And it's devastating for motivation because it means even successful effort gets punished internally.
Which just guarantees you'll have less patience or energy next time. It feeds the extinction cycle.
It absolutely does. It's exhausting. So the ABA solution here is direct. You need to use the same kind of specific, immediate praise on yourself that you'd offer a child learning a new skill or maybe a valued colleague.
Okay, give me an example. Let's say a caregiver just navigated a really tricky conversation with a difficult family member, and they stayed calm the whole time. What's
Yeah.
the affirmation?
It needs to be right after, immediate, and specific to the behavior. You step away for a second, maybe take a deep breath and say internally, or even whisper it aloud, "Wow, I handled that conversation with real skill and patience. I stayed calm, I was clear, and I am genuinely proud of how I managed that."
So you're not just saying good job. You're naming the specific skill you used, the patience, the calmness.
Yes, you reinforce the effort and the behavior you want to see again, the patience, the composure. By praising that specific behavior, you're essentially making it more likely you can access that same calm, composed behavior the next time a similar challenge pops up. You're building that mental muscle memory for resilience.
Building muscle memory for calm. I like that. Okay, so putting it all together.
Yeah.
What does this look like day to day? We need a practical plan.
Right, let's make it actionable. First step, build your caregiver's corner, your personal reward menu.
Okay.
Literally write down, maybe on a sticky note on the fridge, 5 or 6 things that qualify. Low effort, genuinely high value for you, costing little or no money. This is your go-to list.
Like what? Give me a few examples.
Could be listening to one specific song you love, doing a 2-minute guided meditation from an app, stepping outside for 60 seconds of fresh air, savoring a piece of good chocolate, stretching for 3 minutes, reading 1 page of a novel, drinking a specific fancy sparkling water. Small, quick, accessible.
Okay, got my menu. Now what?
Now you pair the dreads. Identify 1 or 2 of those low-frequency tasks you really dislike doing, the ones you procrastinate on.
Like making that difficult phone call.
Perfect. And you formally pair it with 1 item from your reward menu using the Premack rule. After I make that phone call, then I get to listen to my favorite pump-up song. Make it automatic.
And the crucial piece here is the mindset shift, right?
Absolutely critical. You have to be immediate and you have to be non-guilty. This isn't selfish. This isn't an indulgence you don't deserve.
How should we view it then?
View it as a vital part of your job description. It's scheduled maintenance. It's the fuel required to do the next hard thing. It's professional self-care, enabling you to continue providing care.
That reframe part of the job description feels really important for overcoming that resistance. But let's hit those common roadblocks, those mental barriers. First one, my reward feels too small. 5 minutes of music seems insignificant compared to the mountain I'm climbing.
Yeah, that's a common feeling. But we have to counter it with the power of consistency and frequency. Small is sustainable. We're not aiming for a massive party once a year.
We're aiming for tiny sips of water during the marathon.
Exactly. That's a perfect analogy. Frequent, small, immediate reinforcements add up. They keep the motivation engine ticking over throughout the day. 10 tiny boosts are far more effective at preventing burnout than 1 huge reward planned for next month. It's like microdosing motivation.
Microdosing motivation. Okay, I'm keeping that one. Barrier number 2, the guilt. How can I reward myself, even with something small, when my loved one is right there, struggling or suffering?
This one's tough. It hits deep. But it comes from misunderstanding the purpose of the reward. Again, it's not indulgence, it's maintenance.
Structural maintenance for the caregiver.
Right. Think of it like charging your phone battery. You don't feel guilty charging your phone so you can use it later, right? You need that energy. You cannot provide safe, patient, compassionate care if your own battery is completely drained.
So the argument becomes, taking this micro reward actually allows me to provide better care later. It benefits my loved one too.
Absolutely. You're investing in their well-being by ensuring your capacity. A rested, slightly recharged caregiver is infinitely better than an exhausted, resentful one. Plus, you're modeling self-compassion, which is powerful too. Your loved one benefits from your patience far more than they benefit from your martyrdom.
Okay, powerful reframe there too. Final barrier, consistency. This sounds good, but how do I keep it going when every single day feels relentless and exactly the same? That monotony is what killed the motivation in the first place.
Great point. And the answer is, you have to introduce novelty within the structure. Rotate your reinforcers.
So don't use the same small reward every single time.
Exactly. The human brain craves novelty. It habituates, even to good things. If you drink the exact same special tea every single time after doing the paperwork, eventually that tea loses some of its reinforcing power. It becomes less special.
So the structure stays the same, hard task first, then reward, but the specific reward changes.
Precisely. Keep the Premack Principle framework solid, but rotate the items on your reward menu. Maybe this week, finishing the paperwork earns you 10 minutes with your music. Next week, it earns you 10 minutes reading your book. The week after, it's that special sparkling water.
So you keep the brain interested.
You keep it fresh. This prevents the system itself from becoming boring and subject to extinction. Continuous novelty within a reliable structure. That's the key to long-term sustainability.
This has been incredibly insightful, really drilling down into how to build resilience instead of just, wishing we had more of it. The big takeaway for me is clear. Keeping that effort going requires a deliberate, structured, self-directed reinforcement plan.
Yeah, you can't wait for the world to provide it. You have to engineer it yourself.
Handle your own logistics of motivation.
Exactly. And the core behavioral idea, the thing we really hope you take away, is this. You need to celebrate the effort, the small wins, the patience you showed, the consistency, the sheer mental toughness it takes to get through these days by actively reinforcing those behaviors.
You're making sure you have fuel in the tank for tomorrow.
You got it. You're not just surviving the day, you're actively reinforcing the specific skills and energy you need to navigate the next one.
So we want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Your resilience. It's not some fixed trait you're born with. It's not magic. It's built, behaviorally built.
Through that structured rest, that reliable reward.
By treating yourself with the same kind of structured compassion, the same systematic positive reinforcement you strive to offer your loved one, you are actively ensuring your own capacity to care can last. It's not selfish. It's sustainable.
It really is the ultimate preventative measure against burnout, building that internal reinforcement system.